Harrison Price for Friday, October 17th, 2025, and we're a presentation of Bet365. We're coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealers studio here at the historic Wall Center. Visit shoptoyota.ca, visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Matt Sakaris with Blake Price, four-time Juno Award winner Mike Rogerson hitting switches and conducting things on a beautiful afternoon here in the city of Vancouver. After an extremely busy sports night, and the best is yet to come here. It's been a while since we've had a sports weekend like this in the city, like just period alone, full stop within Vancouver.
Right.
You have the big Lions game tonight against the Elks. You have MLS Decision Day tomorrow at BC Place with the Whitecaps and FC Dallas. You have the UFC card that Mike desperately wants to go to tomorrow at Rogers Arena. In fact, if you have a line on tickets, if you have an extra ticket, text 778-402-9680. 778-402-9680. There you go, Mikey. You can check the text message inbox all afternoon, and tomorrow maybe someone can help you out.
I'll do horrible things.
Throw in the Jays and Mariners down the I-5. Throw in the Seahawks in a Monday nighter. And the next 4 nights are bonkers.
Yeah. And, of course, the Canucks are on the road, but they play too. They're busy as well. Coming off the win in Dallas. They're in Chicago tonight. It's Sunday morning hockey from Washington against the Capitals.
The Cup isn't running over. The Cup is now
incredible.
in the river, flowing downstream. It's crazy.
This is so much fun. So looking forward to it here in the city and beyond as we get into the weekend. And I got to say, I got a text here a few minutes ago, Blake, from a buddy of mine, a big Blue Jays fan. Shout out, Kurt. And he says to me, have you seen the prices for the game today? I went, because I was expecting that today's game would be the most expensive of the lot on a Friday, right?
Yep.
Those ticket prices at T-Mobile are coming way down. I'm seeing a get-in price of $93. I am seeing seats behind the Blue Jays dugout for $268. I am seeing seats behind home plate for $300.
Nothing rolls back prices like doom and dread.
Is it that?
Yes.
Is that what is driving it? That the Mariners fans are just so scared of losing a third straight here
That's a Friday night.
In the Ales? It's a Friday afternoon. It's 3 p.m. this game.
Like, is there a and the sun is out, for God's sakes.
Well,
is there a better day to watch fall baseball in the Pacific Northwest?
And this is the game that most Blue Jays fans on this side of the border can get to, right? Like, it's hard to get to a Wednesday or Thursday night game if you're working, but, blow off the Friday, go down there.
No one works on Friday in Vancouver.
No.
Anyway, come on.
No, rush hour is like 12:30.
Yeah. 10 a.m. to 12:30. You go to work at 10, you're back by 12:30.
You go off for lunch, and then, look at the time. So anyways, plot your sports watching through the weekend here.
It's a lot of fun.
You got Jays and M's at 3 today, which maybe runs you into Canucks Blackhawks at 5:30. Like maybe the baseball game is a fait accompli in 2.5 hours, and you can just flip over to the Canucks and Blackhawks at 5:30. And then when that puppy's over, you flip on over to TSN, where Blake will be working the sidelines for the Elks and Lions at 7:30. So, it's going to start in the third period of Canucks Blackhawks, but that game will be over. You move seamlessly into the football.
If you don't get the first quarter, though, if you're going to watch you're going to miss my first hit. And that, miss it at your own peril. It's going to be great.
Miss a hit, miss a lot.
Yeah. right.
Do you have these hits scheduled out? Like, do you know what you were talking about on the early ones?
We game plan for 3 hits. But
so you script plays in football vernacular.
But, of course, you call audibles if you need to.
Well, as the game goes along, you will have elements within the game.
Well, sometimes the game will completely ixnay one of your talking points. If you're talking about a guy who hasn't allowed a pick in X number of games or whatever, and all of a sudden he throws one, well, there goes that.
And that is actually the case with one Cody Fajardo, the Edmonton quarterback.
Yeah, sure.
He's quite good at not throwing interceptions.
Yeah, this year.
172 passing attempts without an interception for Cody.
Pretty impressive. 3 on the season only.
But can he run the short yardage?
Well, he doesn't need to with Rankin around. These are 2 of the hottest offenses.
I'm just so glad we took him out of the short yardage quarterback sneak and put Cody in a position to succeed.
Yes.
One of Wally's biggest mistakes, putting that guy under center for the QB sneak.
He learned his lesson.
Our Redwoods Golf Course poll question today is Connor Garland the Canucks' best forward? Very simple. Yes, no, vote at Sakarison Price on X and on YouTube. Garland outstanding last night in the victory over Dallas. My answer was a hearkening back to a John Tortorella line. Yes, Connor Garland is the Canucks' best forward, and that's great for Connor Garland and not so great for the Vancouver Canucks. Because if we ask this question again in April, who's been the Canucks' best forward this season, the answer has to be Elias Pettersson, right?
Yeah.
If this team is going to be where it wants to be, especially with no JT Miller anymore, because you don't have that 1-2 punch down the middle, it better be Elias Pettersson in April. But I voted for Garland. Bruff, our old friend Bruff, says, I'm not sure it's super close, Blake.
And it's funny, like it really, you can look at player performance in a number of ways, analytically, eye test, all that. And eye test, he is for sure. Like he causes so much to happen when he's on the ice that you can't help it. I mean, analytically, that was a pretty average to slightly below average kind of night for Connor Garland. But he's on the ice for 2 goals for, only 1 against. And he single-handedly creates offense with that deke. Like that goes awry for most players there, I think. They can't pull off that deke that he does on his goal. So when you single-handedly create offense, that's a guy that's worth something. And that's, to bring it back to Pettersson again, that's what they're paying Pettersson for too. But right now, it's Garland that's executing. Incidentally, Evander Kane on the ice for 3 goals for, none against. We're talking about forwards that did stuff last night.
Say that again, sir?
He was on the ice for 3 goals for at even strength,
really?
None against. Now, his Corsi was horrific, 29% Corsi, but, again, it's how you look at stats, right? I've often said this about analytics and stats in general. We talked about this with defensemen and going all the way back to Lucas Spiza and the pizzas and all that sort of stuff. Players that give the puck away, but it doesn't end up in the back of the net. I mean, coaches will hate that because it'll tear their hair out watching it, but if there is no effect ultimately,
yeah,
you are going to avoid a lot of the criticism from the public.
Our old friend Len Catling put us on Arizona Mission, says, guys, don't forget the big UBC Saskatchewan Huskies football game tonight at Thunderbird Stadium. Yeah, kickoff 6 p.m. UBC fighting for their playoff lives after delivering a NFL starting offensive tackle to my Chicago Bears earlier this week in Theo Benedette. Thank you, Coach Neil and UBC football. So did you vote on the poll?
If we're just talking in the here and now, yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah, it is yes. Our friends at the Redwoods Golf Course want you to know they can take care of your custom corporate events, team building, networking. If you want to involve golf lessons in your event, if you want to involve a food and beverage component to your event, they have you out there in Langley. Plus, they have the private and semi-private lessons available and flexible to your schedule. And especially for children aged 6 to 16, set them up for the sport of a lifetime. Winter lessons going to be available soon. We'll tell you about that. They have the outstanding practice facility there. Check it out, redwoods-golf.com. Moving to our top story, brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, and Foolish Winery. Canucks come back and win against undefeated Dallas, ride a 4-goal second period to victory after falling behind 2 after 1. And after that first stanza, the Canucks had played 10 periods this season and had one good one. The third period of the home opener a week ago Thursday against Calgary. So, boy, did they need that second period, Blake. Hedel, Besser, Sasson, and Garland score in the middle frame. Quinn ices it in the third with an empty netter.
And I did have the thought, okay, they came back versus Dallas in the spring. So they have done this before against a very similar Dallas team. But then I looked at the Canucks of the now, and I thought, okay, but do they have the horses to do a comeback again? And after watching that first period, I was like, I just don't see it. I don't see how they could possibly do this against this quality of a team. You go down 2 to Chicago, for instance, I think you hold out some hope. I didn't have much hope for the Vancouver Canucks. And then they flat out were the better team and I'll say over the final 40, because I think they played a good third period for a team that is in the lead. You play differently when you're in the lead. That's what score effects means. But they nursed home that victory very nicely and got the 2-goal lead, a multi-goal lead that allows that late 6-on-5 goal. Like, that's why you push. That's why you keep going to get the 2-goal lead, because a team like that is, I won't say they're odds on to get a 6-on-5, but they have a good chance to get a 6-on-5 goal, especially if they get a late power play.
They got a lot of offensive firepower. It was kind of like the Blue Jays adding on last night, right? Because, like, you're sitting there watching that game if you're from a Blue Jays perspective with that dugout or with that bullpen, and you're thinking to yourself, well, and a 41-year-old starting pitcher, and we'll get into him later in the program.
In baseball,
you're sitting there going, I'm not sure 3-1's enough. I'm not sure 4-1's enough. 5-1 should be enough, but then they score. It's 5-2.
In baseball, the metric is get beyond a grand slam. You don't want one swing of the bat to tie the game.
Yeah. Apologies to my neighbors for those moments after the Guerrero home run. I'm watching in the separate room, and the next thing I know, the cats go scurrying. They don't like loud noises. And I'm quite sure the neighbors downstairs heard it too. Anyways, more on the Canucks. Here's Connor Garland on what sparked the comeback.
Just, I think Heath's goal kind of loosened us up. Had a few looks after that, and then, obviously Sass was a big goal, give us the lead, and to go, I thought the fourth one was, big as well. Go into the third with a 2-goal lead, kind of give yourself a little cushion against that lineup that can make plays from anywhere, which they did. So, but Denver kind of closed the door for us.
Yep. Connor Garland parroting you, or you're parroting Connor Garland? Or should I call him Garls or Garley?
More on nicknames later.
Heats, Sass, Bass also scored in that period.
And he brings up another good point. Things you don't think about until you have them. Like, you get the multi-goal lead, and you have the goaltending superiority.
Yes, you do.
You feel pretty good about your chances to close out games.
Yeah, but not a great night for ex-Canuck backup Casey DeSmith.
Well, Garley made him look a little silly. It was just a spectacular undressing there.
Yeah. 2-point nights for Garland, for Quinn Hughes, for Philip Roenick. I guess they call him Phil, right? So he's a first-name nickname guy.
Yeah. Rones doesn't work.
Demko makes 28 stops, has looked superior this season in his comeback after last season, destroyed by that popliteus injury. The Canucks power play scores twice, offsets the 2 goals. Their penalty kill gives up. One of them was late.
Yeah, the empty net.
Yeah, empty net. But counts as a power play.
But the style points, the judges' cards, even better. It felt like 6 for 6, the power play.
Elias Pettersson looks better, does good work on the Besser power play goal, blocks 3 shots, including 1 late. Still only 2 shot attempts. You talked about wanting 3 shots on goal per game. He loses 15 of the 25 faceoffs he takes. That's a lot. 25 faceoffs, including one on the first Dallas goal. But Your assessment of the new line mates, Drew O'Connor, Connor Garland, and the effect it had on Elias.
I think it makes him work harder. I think he sees the intensity that both of those guys play with, and it's a little bit infectious. It's a stepping stone, but I don't want to. And you know what? I said we were going to do this later. Let's bring up the player stats right now here, Mike, if you can reach back into the quiver and change things up a little bit. A vocal minority was pointing out that Elias Pettersson was back after this game.
I saw somebody write a Selke performance game for Elias Pettersson.
And this is just the Corsi, but they're pretty much parroted in the shot share percentage and in expected goals. And you see how far down you have to go to get to Elias Pettersson. And I'm not saying he wasn't better. He was okay last night. He was. I'm not saying he played a poor game. But let's stop with the Louis Eriksson praise here of Elias Pettersson's night on a night in which, when he's on the ice, the other team has more shot attempts, the other team has more shots, the other team has more goals, and the other team has more expected goals when Elias Pettersson's on the ice. Not by wide margins. He wasn't drilled into the ground. And it was a step forward. I'm not going to deny people that. It is positive for Elias Pettersson. But let's not make it out into something that it isn't. This was not a Mona Lisa performance from Elias Pettersson. And there's hopefully, and hey, Matt, if this is the first step, if we're going to point back to this game, remember that game where he protected the puck well, helped set up that goal, and it was the catalyst to turn around the season. Mm-hmm. If this is step one on the 6-step recuperation here this season, then great. But what I don't want is now to have a less than average game tonight, and for it to disappear for a few more games. That's not what this player has to be. He needs to be great.
Is he still capable of Mona Lisa?
I question it.
Do you still think him Da Vinci, or do you think him more Van Gogh Starry Night at this stage? It's a little cruder Starry Night. It looks like something that, a lesser artist could put out there, whereas Mona Lisa, especially the way her eyes work in the Louvre there, like that is mastery of the highest order.
I think both of those are pretty widely regarded artists.
Oh yeah,
yes.
No. So I'm not taking anything away from Van Gogh or his greatness. Believe you me, all you Dutch folk that I've just upset can stand down. I'm just saying, Starry Night isn't quite as precise, the pinpoint perfection that is required in painting the Mona Lisa.
And this is my
versus the Starry Night.
This should be Canucks fans' deepest fears. And again, no full evaluation has been done yet on this season after just 4 games. But my fear, and I think some Canucks fans' fears, a lot of Canucks fans' fears, is I'm gone past the point that it's all between his ears. I think that has been a key ingredient for sure in years gone by. But I think a lot of that stuff has been removed now, Matt. And my biggest, deepest fear on behalf of Elias Pettersson and Canucks fans is that his body won't let him do what he once did. And I want to be proven wrong so badly on this, trust me.
It's between the ears, but at least he still has 2 of them. Unlike Van Gogh.
Back to Van Gogh, right. It's good. It's good.
We have got to talk about that 4th line. They're calling it the Abbey line. And it was Archie Bains, another strong game for Surrey's Archie Bains, who has been in the lineup consistently this season. And 2 guys who are making their season debuts in Max Sasson and Linus Karlsson. Extraordinary night for them. They scored the Sasson goal. They dominate the opposition on the road when Adam Foote does not have control over the matchups.
It's tremendous.
I think you got to feel really, really good about that game. And I think it's also evident, Blake, that Max Sasson was the guy that should have been playing instead of Braden Cootes over the first 3 games. Because another storyline for the Canucks last night, and folks, when is the last time we have said this? They score goals thanks to raw pace and speed. The lob pass from Evander Kane to Hedl into space and breaks away. Sasson, the bounce pass off the boards, and Sasson is on his way streaking in on goal. We have watched Canucks hockey for a long time here, folks, and talked about their general lack of foot speed vis-a-vis the opposition or the fastest teams in the NHL.
Yeah.
They have struggled mightily with the New Jersey Devils over the last few years, and speed has been figured as a big reason why. Devils got a lot of guys who can skate. That's not the Canucks game. So it was awesome to see some goals of a variety that we have not seen a lot of late watching the Canucks play.
Sherwood, Hedl, Sasson, O'Connor
are good skaters.
Are all good skaters.
Very good skaters.
Now, you wish they had one more that had a little bit more pedigree, and all due respect to Kiefer Sherwood, who is tied for the team leading goals. And we still don't really know what the ceiling is for Max Sasson, but, pedigreed speed, that's something different, right? There's been a lot of players in the National Hockey League over the history of the sport that have had speed, but what you do with it and how you work with your line mates and all that is another thing. So let's hope that there's development there to be had for Max Sasson. Let's hope that Sherwood and it looks like Sherwood can back up his season from a year ago with another one like that. But if they could add one more bit of speed, if that midseason
skater,
if that midseason acquisition, which I think they're making,
it has to be a center.
It has to be a center.
Let's hope it's a quick one.
And a quick one would be helpful. Yeah.
So just whip up a second line center with speed,
pedigreed center.
Bona fide, speedy second line.
That's all.
Let's hear from the head coach Adam Foote on the so-called Abbotsford line.
I thought they had some jump. And, you saw it in preseason, and then you saw it tonight. And I think that speed on the goal, he almost had another chance. And, with that speed, defensemen will back off when he's out there. And you saw it spread the D out. They weren't playing as up when that line was, out there. They'd be cautious of that speed.
Speed. We used to hear Alain Vigneault in his hoarse voice when it was quieter at Rogers Arena. One of their players would pick up a puck in the neutral zone, and you'd hear AV, speed. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's pretty unmistakable.
So anyways, the Canucks even their record at 2-2. They even their road record at 1-1. And they win the first game of this 5-game road trip, which progresses into Chicago, Washington, Pittsburgh, and Nashville. What are our friends up to at Yellow Dog this weekend?
A collab. After good teamwork yesterday by the Canucks, let's talk about teamwork from our fine friends, because they've created the Pop Quiz American Pale Ale neighborhood, partnering up with Old Schoolhouse Brewing. It's a bright, crushable, full of hop-forward answers to all your taste bud questions, hence the Pop Quiz American Pale Ale. Bursting with citrus, hint of pine, smooth, easy finish, study break approved. Must be legal drinking age. Celebrate responsibly. Go check it out.
Are we going to do Crave the Stats
Let's do
from
it.
Uber Eats right now? There's a new feature on Sekeres and Price. You'll hear it, see it 3 times a week. Interesting stats that come across our gaze. We had the New York Rangers going goalless in their first 3 games at Madison Square Garden earlier this week. JT Miller's got that. Let's not blow this out of proportion, guys. It's a unique situation. So I derive great amusement from that one. So you have a high bar today on Crave the Stats by Uber Eats.
Well, in an attempt for the Vancouver Canucks to string together their first wins of the season, back-to-back no less, on the road, they turn to Kevin Lankinen, who sports a 3-0 career record versus his former team in Chicago. And he was a big part of all 3 of the victories. Save percentages of .935, .962, and .912. His lone Vancouver win over the Chicago Blackhawks.
A lot of people have beat up on the Blackhawks the last few years.
So he's got the angst of playing against his old team, and he's got a history of doing it. Now, Blackhawks have looked better.
They have. We're going to get into that.
So we'll see if he can hold up against this Chicago Blackhawks team. But you get a fresh keeper and one that you trust.
See, I thought you were going to go with the other goaltender, Thatcher Demko, because Mike was very cheery about him being 9-1-1 against Dallas in his career.
That's also impressive.
That's a hell of a team to go 9-1-1 against.
It sort of made it pretty obvious who was starting where. And I think we could have penned it in anyway, just in terms of Dosai-doing the goalies. But it worked out that it happened to land on positions or areas of strength for each of the goalies.
Canucks right back at it tonight in Chicago against the 2-2-1 Hawks, who are on the final playoff spot in the Western Conference, 1 point and spot ahead of the Vancouver Canucks. You know, since Blake was so concerned about that 1-2 start, I thought I'd get the playoff picture in there.
Can I get the Uber Eats?
Never too early. Never too early.
Can I get the Uber
Should
Eats?
Oh, please do. Please do. Yeah,
we got to tell you about the game day deals on the app. We've told you about this. Game day deals, like every time the Canucks are playing at home, you can get a buy one, get one 6-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's in Vancouver, only on Uber Eats. Go check it out. That turns into 12 McNuggets just to do the easy math. There's stats for you.
There you go. 6 times 2.
Learn that one pretty easy. Uber Eats accelerating your fandom all season long.
It's a dozen. Here's another stat. Canucks have won 10 straight against Chicago. For younger members of the audience, this used to be the rivalry for the Vancouver Canucks. It wasn't a geographic rival. It wasn't anybody over in Alberta. It wasn't anyone down the West Coast. Chicago and Vancouver, 3 straight years in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Hawks won the first 2. Hawks won a cup, too. Canucks got him in year 3. It was kind of a big deal. Mm-hmm. Ask your older brother or your uncle.
Your young uncle, yes.
Now it's a lopsided affair with the Canucks winning all these games. North Vancouver's Connor Bedard has never beaten his hometown team, and given how big a Canucks fan he was growing up, we can only assume that's intentional. He just can't bring himself to bring his best against the team that has his heart and will have his services in about 7 years or so, right? That's how this is working?
That is an online movement.
And then Macklin comes over the next year from San Jose because he's a Canucks fan too.
It has happened on a couple of fronts. John Tavares to Toronto, Jonathan Taves to Winnipeg.
It's our version of the Hughes brothers, except they're just not blood relatives. But Celebrini and Bedard, it's going to make for a hell of a power play unit for the Canucks in about 7-8 years' time.
Yes, good indeed.
Bedard 6 points in 5 games so far. Some of these young Hawks are starting to grow up and turn into decent NHL players, Blake.
Well, the report I'm seeing from Bedard is that he looks stronger. He looks more sure of himself, more willing to battle on the boards and fight through the NHL traffic. And that's great news for Chicago fans, but I think it's good news for all of us that get to watch a special talent at work.
He is a special shooter of the puck.
Yeah.
It stands to reason. 18, 19-year-olds are often just not muscular and physically up to the NHL night after night grind, and especially the board work in the tight areas, as you talked about, Blake.
Yeah.
So good to see him. I saw Biz Nasty talk about him saying Bedard is going off this year. He is taking no prisoners. It is launch time. And I can completely see that.
I never like to see busts of guys that have special talents. Like, why didn't it work? Not that he was ever at risk of being a bust, but I just mean I want to see him as a 50-goal scorer in the NHL.
Of course.
I don't want him to be a 30-goal scorer. I want him to be a 50-goal scorer.
Absolutely. I mean, his mastery of the puck and the angles and the release that he can shoot it with, Blake.
The bowing of the stick as he shoots.
It's just... There are not many that we've seen that have that degree of gift with a hockey stick and a hockey puck. And, well, there could be an incident tonight.
Could be. Doubt it.
As the Canucks face former Canuck Jason Dickinson after his dirty hit on Philip Heatle last year that caused another concussion, the 5th known concussion of Heedle's career. After that game last March, Kiefer Sherwood, and you'll have to forgive him, he was not here during the days of Todd Bertuzzi, was none too happy. The quote, "He is going to have to answer the bell. That was a dirty hit. He doesn't have the whatever to step on the ice afterwards. We'll get him next year."
We don't say that out loud anymore.
Kiefer, we don't say that out loud anymore. Yeah. Really, you should talk to your agent, but your agent should talk to a lawyer. Because those sorts of words did come back to haunt once upon a time.
Did end up in a court, yes.
Yeah. Police got involved. It was messy.
Now, we have seen kind of words like that uttered since, didn't we, with Tyler Myers on Matt Martin? Wasn't that a similar
Well, Eric Branson.
Was it Eric Branson? Pardon me, yeah.
He was going to kill him.
Yeah.
KI double hockey sticks. I was in Toronto.
No one picks on Troy Stetcher.
For his part, Dickinson knows what could be coming. Says to Ian McIntyre, I get it. They're not happy. You don't want to see your teammate hurt, so I respect that. I expect guys to play with integrity. I appreciate whatever has to come.
Oh, wow. That sounget you guys ready to fight tonight.
No, I mean, honestly, Blake, like I know you, and we'll get JPat's thoughts on this later in the show, but oftentimes these go quietly into the night, and of course, oftentimes it's a reflection of the scoreboard. Nobody wants to be taking a silly penalty in a close game, but I get the sense there's some meat on the bone with this one.
Really, huh?
Yeah. I think Kiefer Sherwood is going to fight Jason Dickinson. That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't think he can get too square. Like, Foligno likes to mix it up too, but he's not in the lineup. He's attending to a daughter with some health conditions, so we wish him best in that. But he would be involved in that sort of stuff otherwise, I think. And I mean, it could be just that.
Yeah.
But I don't think it risks devolving into anything, that affects the entirety of the game.
Dickinson's a reasonably big boy, too. He's 6'2", 200 pounds.
Yeah, not a fighter.
No, not a fighter, and not a heavyweight, but he's middle to cruiserweight, light heavyweight.
Yeah. I mean, ideally it'd be Kane, but he doesn't really have a dog in this fight per se because he wasn't there.
Right.
So I think it's on Sherwood. It was him that uttered the.
Well, that's
the
it. I mean, if
ultimately.
you're so when you utter the phrase, he doesn't have the fill in the blank, whatever's to get back on the ice. In the midst of a promise that you're going to take a number and get him back, then it's kind of up to you to show that you have the whatever's fill in the blanks to make good on the threat. No? Forgive me, Blake. It has been years and years since we have talked about NHL retribution.
Okay, let me ask you this.
This used to be a big part of all kind of, like every sports talk, hockey talk show, retribution. When there was a retribution angle, and there was often a retribution angle, it would get talked up. And again, more often than not, quietly into the night. But every now and then you got Todd Bertuzzi and Steve Moore, or at least something that approximated that.
See, here's Canucks submit their starting lineup first, right? Is the road team.
That is correct.
Does Adam Foote put Kiefer Sherwood on there just to see if it's matched? Because I could see both coaches going, let's just get this out of the way. Opening face-off, helmets down. I guess you can't do that anymore.
Not supposed to.
Because I see people in the chat are talking about this. If EP25 has a massive Kronwallian hit up the wall, does that set off a new thing? Like if Pettersson trucks somebody, does that become, you take out our guy, and then the one-upmanship begins?
Well, there it is. An eye for an eye leads to a blind world.
And also, you don't want Heedle involved in a game like that, lest a wing come up again on Filipino.
No, exactly. You want. Well, not to mention you want Quinn Hughes exposed to anything.
Oh, that too.
Absolutely. Anyways, we'll see where that goes.
I think the orchestrated opening face-off would probably be the best case scenario for all involved.
Gets it out of the way.
Yeah.
Yep. Shout out to a new audience member. This is Francis, at FrancisG71. Love your work. I'm Malaysian Irish, and I'm new at this. I just figured out what icing means. Well, good on you, Francis.
Saw that one earlier, yeah.
Yeah, we'll help coach you up as the season goes along.
Welcome aboard.
Malaysian Irish, yes, not exactly ice hockey playing nations. Perhaps there's some field hockey
I would
there.
guess there's some field
and
hockey
we
in
know
Malaysia.
how the Irish do at hurling.
Yes.
In fact, hurling a forerunner of hockey. There's a town in Nova Scotia that will tell you it's the birthplace of ice hockey because they played hurling on the ice. Most hockey historians dispute that, believe the game was invented in Montreal, at least the modern game that we know, but there are clearly properties that this game shares with hurling.
My barber's Irish.
Except it's on ice.
My barber's Irish.
And you don't pick up the puck.
Gaelic football athletes and hurling athletes in Ireland are like celebrities.
And they're amateurs, Blake.
And they're amateurs.
It's the quaintest, most adorable thing. There's 50,000 people in the stadium, and the players, the product, are not getting rich off their efforts.
The athletic trainer going out to treat them, he's got a salary. The guy he's treating does not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was mind-blown when I
here.
had the Irish explain that. I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, you play for your town, you play for your club, you play for your county.
And they still do.
I'm like, but those tickets cost money, right? And they're like, yeah.
There's money there in the
I'm like,
system.
So you're attracting a commercial audience and none of the proceeds are flowing to the players?
And they train 4 or 5 days a week.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. Next time you think, you're critical of professionals, think of those guys. They don't even get paid, and they put their livelihoods on the line.
They need a Bob Good now.
Yeah, indeed.
They need a Marvin Miller. Fellas. Okay, let's get to the menu today. It's brought to you by our friends at Greta. Awesome spot to go pregame or postgame. And your steps from the arena or stadium, you got a couple of big games there this weekend in the stadium district. So head on down to Greta post-game if you need a venue for team building, a sociable. Check out Greta. Fantastic street food. The poutine, so big, so decadent. The arcade, always a fun time. For more info, to book your event, go to gretabar.com, Greta 50 West Cordova. Let the games begin. JPat's going to join us. He was busy last night with RinkWide Vancouver, our post-game show. Wrapping up that victory against the Stars. 5-3 they win. Then Jeff Marek. We talked to Jeff on Fridays. We talked to him about Connor Garland. Braden Cootes. Now back with the Seattle
very Canadian
Thunder.
when you say that. Braden Cootes.
Braden Cootes from Sherwood Park, Alberta. Eh? He's a good hockey player. He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. He's in tough to make the World Junior team, eh?
Yeah.
Because you think, oh, well, he broke camp with an NHL team as an 18-year-old. There was only a handful of those. He absolutely is going to have a spot on Canada's World Junior team. It is a hyper-competitive World Junior team this year.
He's going to have to give
They
her.
are awash in forwards. It is incredible the amount of forward talent that'll be vying for, 14 spots at most with this Canadian World Junior outfit. So that is not a done deal, and Jeff takes you through a little bit of that as well. Later in the program, we talk about that American League Championship Series Game 4 from Seattle last night. Look forward to the Lions and Elks tonight from BC Place as the Leos try and get closer to a home playoff game, not make this the regular season home finale the last time they see the innards of BC Place. Whitecaps tomorrow on Decision Day against FC Dallas, where a draw or a win cements first place in the West for them. So everything happening here, and even an NFL game last night with two 40-year-old quarterbacks shooting the lights out.
Everything is happening.
It's amazing.
Incidentally, the two forwards for FC Dallas are suspended for this match. So
card accumulation,
red card and card accumulation.
Oh my god!
So it could be them bunkering down and just
Well,
to counter.
Dallas only has upward mobility if Portland loses. So,
yeah.
And now the games all kick off at the same time because that is the idea of decision day. You don't want teams to.
But they haven't clinched yet. They haven't. So they want to make sure that they clinch.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, they have limited upward mobility. They need Portland to lose,
they're just protecting their ass,
or they're
locked
into the play-in game. But yes, they do have chasers coming after them.
Yeah.
In the MLS West. Okay, time now for our Bet365 bets of the day. I won again yesterday with an over on the Blue Jays in Seattle series. I considered it again today, but I didn't want to push my luck. For all I know, this is the game that, Gosman goes out and throws a two-hitter and Miller's outstanding for the M's. So I'm not pushing the luck there. I'm looking at the Canucks game. Okay, we're 4 games in. Enough is enough. Elias Pettersson, you look better last night. You have new line mates who might be better fits than DeBrusk and Besser. The power play looked better. A weaker outfit against Chicago. Due for his first goal of the season. And Elias Pettersson as an anytime goal scored tonight, plus 220. Those are pretty good odds for a number one centerman, if he's still a number one centerman. PD to score, plus 220.
Could have gone for a prop like Keon Hatcher, receiving yards as he tries to chase down G. Simon and the receiving title, ranking for these total yards. Nope, I'm going just result. The Lions are a wagon. I'm taking the Lions minus 6.5 to win this.
I looked at that too. I like that number because it's less than a touchdown.
Yeah.
I also think you're going to see some points tonight.
Yep.
These the two teams who have made the most big plays in the CFL this year. Let's face it, their defenses have given some up, although BC's been a lot better on defense.
Good test for the Lions D.
And the Lions are getting both their starting offensive tackles back, which should have an effect, particularly in pass protection.
Yes,
so
you bet.
I like that as well. Blake's working the sidelines there.
I'm just going to sleep at BC Place.
This segment, a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game, use code NATION when doing so. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Jeff Patterson coming up next. Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center. We're joined now by our Canucks reporter, the host of RinkWide Vancouver. They were at it last night, unpacking a Vancouver Canucks victory over the Dallas Stars. Here's Jeff Patterson after a 5-3 win. How we doing, Jeff?
We're all right today. The morning after, I kind of was discombobulated. I got so carried away with all the excitement in that second period. I started RinkWide by saying the final score was 5-2. I had the final score of the hockey game.
I saw that.
Yeah, so put me on E's and O's on my own show and your show and whatever. Bottom line is it's a win, whether it was 104-2 or 105. Whatever, they beat the Dallas Stars, and good on them. They looked good doing it after, again, another sluggish start, and that's sort of been par for the course for this group, but we look past that in totality because overall they got better as the night went along.
We had previewed the Dallas gives up goals,
right?
But you have to assert yourself. You have to string together passes and make it all happen. Kudos to them for finding that Achilles heel and exploiting it.
Yeah, and speed's a hell of a drug, and all of a sudden we're seeing the Canucks with a little bit of separation speed, and Filipino scored on 2 beautiful breakaways, same move on the breakaway, and hey, if it's working, stick with it until the goaltenders figure it out. But then Max Sasson, away to the races as well. So, I thought for me it boiled down to about a 3-minute segment there early in the second period. It's 2-0 Dallas. Canucks were on their heels in the opening 20 minutes. And then Elias Pettersson gets the puck to the line. I'm not sure I've ever seen a puck go across the goal line sideways one way and back the same direction, but not cross the line. And I just thought to myself, really? Like, is this his season in a nutshell? Is this what we're in for? And then Connor Garland takes a penalty moments later. Dallas has a chance to go up 3-zip. They had scored on their previous power play. Canucks killed that one off. And then Hedl scored, and that got the ball rolling. So they dodged the early bullet in that second period. And once they did, they were the better team in the middle frame without a doubt. And so it can change in a hurry. It's hard to figure out why they couldn't find their footing early in the hockey game, whatever the case, whatever Adam Foote said between the first and second period, it seemed to work. And then once they got going, the confidence was there. And, this is what they didn't do against either Edmonton or St. Louis, guys, was where Brock Besser scored early in the third period, and Edmonton got them within one, but they couldn't harness that and they didn't do anything with it. And against St. Louis, Kiefer Sherwood scored the big shorthanded goal that you thought, okay, that's going to give them the boost, and that'll be a turning point. It wasn't. Here, they didn't look satisfied at 2-2. It was like, we've still got work to do, and continue to chip away, and they end up scoring 4 in that middle frame. So, there was a lot to digest and a lot to like from the Vancouver Canucks in a place that, certainly against a team that hadn't lost, and as you said, Blake had scored a bunch, but kind of quietly had been given up a bunch as well, and the Canucks were able to exploit that.
You brought him up. What did you make of Pettersson last night?
Yeah, they need a whole lot more. I think we're going to say that a lot. But in saying that, there were contributions. Puts his legs on the line with about 5 minutes to go and blocks a shot. Like, that's selling out and buying in for the hockey club and doing your part there. Did pick up an assist, so it's another point. Now, was he one of the stars of the hockey game? No. Has he been a star yet? No. So there's still plenty of room to travel in that regard. But on a night like last night, I thought the power play, it got the Besser goal that tied the game at 2. First power play goal of the season. He had a role there. But I really liked the power play in the third period when they didn't score, but the first unit stayed out for the first minute and 40, and they were buzzing. The puck was moving. The players were moving.
They were moving. The people were moving. So, and
again,
good.
he was a part of that. So,
Move.
It wasn't anything close to the best that we've seen him in the National Hockey League, but there were moments, and I guess that's something to build on.
My physio says motion is lotion, so I'm very pleased to see them moving on the...
Don't think that applies here, but okay. Now it makes me think of something else, but okay, we'll move on.
He's such a dirty mind, Jeff. Means, get the body going.
We're all excited about the power play. We're just not that excited, is my point. Yeah.
Help me out on the first Dallas goal. Elias loses the draw, and then he's late to Bork in front of the net. But is that Marcus Pettersson's guy? Because Pettersson sort of goes out to try and deal with the puck carrier. So is that Elias missing the assignment, or is that Marcus Pettersson stretching out too far?
After the game, Adam Foote seemed to be cutting Pettersson some slack. Elias Pettersson some slack.
Right.
In that moment.
Yeah, fair.
And so I'll defer to the coach there on the X's and O's. It's unfortunate. I mean, you're trying to play defense. You're trying to break up a pass. We see it all the time that a guy will deflect a pass and just into the corner or just wide of the net. This time it wound up in the net. So again, where it felt like the world has been conspiring against this guy and the heat is on, and that's the start to the hockey game. The first puck he puts in the net all season is in his own goal. You just wondered where it was going to go from there, but I'm glad for him and for the hockey club it got better. But yeah, even if you want to put it at the feet of Elias Pettersson, it's a pretty fluky, freaky play that's not really repeatable and isn't going to happen a whole lot more throughout the season.
How about that Abbey Canucks line and Max Sasson, Jeff? They certainly gave the club a boost.
And on the road where you don't have the lineups, you're succumbing to whatever they throw it at you, and they held their own and then some.
Yeah, it strikes me, and I think I had this thought through the training camp in preseason, and they played together at times in the preseason as well. I think they all think now that they belong in the National Hockey League, where in years gone by, the call-ups, they wanted to be in the NHL, they were getting their opportunity, but maybe even in the backs of their minds, they didn't believe that they were NHLers. And there's a confidence level to it. Linus Karlsson getting into the lineup for the first time, didn't play an awful lot, but the collective, the three of them, the shot attempts were 12 or 13 to 1 when they were on the ice. I thought the Canucks in the first 5 minutes were going to get run out of the rink. And then one of the shifts that sort of calmed things down after Dallas had opened the scoring was the Abbotsford guys. Spent their shift in the offensive zone, applied some pressure there, and I think that allowed the rest of the team just to exhale a bit, catch their breath, and try to carry on from there. So, here they are going back to back. Jonathan Lekkerimäki didn't play. You don't want him sitting out too long. Teddy Bluger is close to being an option, but how could you possibly not come back with those three guys on a line together and give them an opportunity to do their thing? And the other thing there with Max Sasson, and I tweeted this on social, and I still believe it the day after, that in no way is this a knock on Braden Cootes, but Max Sasson gave them shifts and ultimately scored a goal that Braden Cootes just wasn't going to at this stage as an 18-year-old. And you saw what experience means and how much it matters. And Braden Cootes will get there. And hopefully we'll have lots of good years as a member of the Vancouver Canucks. But he's back in junior, and Max Sasson stepped into that spot and looked like a guy that didn't want to give it up.
What would you do with Lekkerimäki versus Chicago? Because they don't have Foligno with them right now. So they're a little less stiff than they normally would be. Maybe things open up a little bit versus a Chicago team. Would that tempt you into putting Lekkerimäki back in, given what we just talked about with the Abbey guys that were in last night?
It would, but if you play that game out, like, who comes out of the lineup then? Because Besser and Garland and DeBrusk are all going to have their spots. Evander Kane's not coming out of this lineup. We talk about Carlson and Baines. They were two of the wingers last night. If you believe that they deserve to stay in, then you got to find somebody else. And is it Drew O'Connor, who got the promotion to play in the top six, didn't do a whole lot with it, but I don't think he's coming right out of the lineup. He's part of their penalty kill. So I don't like the idea of Lekkerimäki sitting for consecutive games at the stage of the season. I also think that, look, this is the middle game of 3 games in 3.5 days with a bunch of travel in there. If you have healthy bodies, it probably makes sense to try to get, lengthen your lineup and get as many guys as you can in there. But conventional hockey wisdom, stick with the winning lineup. I think Kevin Lankinen will get the start and goal. But beyond that, I am curious what, if any, changes Adam Foote is going to make as they go right back into battle here.
Mm-hmm. There might be a matter in this hockey game this afternoon, Jeff, because that was an awfully dirty hit last year from former Canuck Jason Dickinson on Philip Hedl. It, of course, caused another injury for Philip Hedl. Do you anticipate any fireworks in this hockey game, any retribution against Dickinson for what he did last season?
My gut reaction is no, that it is a new season here and a fair bit of time has passed. Now it is the first meeting since, and I think we all remember Kiefer Sherwood in the light of day the following day at practice talked about we're going to get him next year.
Yep.
That was then, and we'll see. I mean, first of all, the Canucks aren't constructed to be a team to go and get their pound of flesh. I know that
not even with Evander.
This has been a lament of the fan base in recent years, so I understand where this is all coming from. Personally, I just don't think it's fair to expect Evander Kane to go and make a guy pay for transgressions that happened in a game when he was part of a different organization altogether.
100%. Yeah.
So, but you say they're not constructed. Like, nobody carries a pure fighter anymore, right? So, like, is anybody constructed for these sorts of old?
Kiefer Sherwood was the one that said what he said. So, has he got the long memory? Maybe. It's a pretty short list of guys that I think that you could even look to think that that's in the game that they play. And can't always fall on Tyler Myers as the veteran sort of, just because he's a big, tall guy. And so I don't know. I mean, first and foremost, I think you're the Canucks. You're coming off a really good win last night. You want to back it up. That can't be front of mind for them. If this game gets away, sometimes that kind of thing happens. Yes. And they will play the Hawks a couple of times this year. But really, with where this team is, trying to get some traction, get its footing, getting guys going, the best payback here would be to follow up what they did in Dallas with another win in Chicago and then head into Washington feeling pretty good about themselves. So my hunch is no, but it is a contact sport and tempers flare and those types of things. So I'm not ruling it out entirely, but I just don't think you can put it at the feet of Evander Kane and say, hey, you've made a career of this. Go and clean up the mess for us.
The other risk is the powder keg and further injury to somebody because the game has gone out of control. So you don't necessarily want that either. Demko, of course, gets a break today versus the Blackhawks, but What do you say about Demko? We're just continuing to add sample size to the case that he really is back, and he saved them on a number of occasions, kept them in it early on.
Yeah, for sure. The first goal that we said tips off his own guy. The second one is Rantanen off the rush, and he is just a professional marksman.
He will do that.
And he's done that to a lot of goalies, so I don't hold that against Thatcher Demko. And then from that point, again, the Stars were skating circles around the Vancouver Canucks. Like, it could have been 4-0 in that first period. It wasn't, partly due to Thatcher Demko. And then in that second period, as the Canucks are getting the traction that they were looking for, he was forced to make some key saves. And then I thought really his starring moments were early in the third after Ratu took a penalty, Stars back on the power play, and they had a couple of point blanks right in front. And Demko right now is just looking massive in the net, not giving guys much to shoot at. And again, I think this is where it comes back to this idea that the Vancouver Canucks believe that they're going to have an edge in goal most nights. And last night was a night where they finally took the lead. They go to the third period. There had to be this air of confidence in that locker room going, okay, up 2, going to the third, and that guy's in net. Like, we got this. And even though the Stars chipped away and they got within 1, that's as close as they got. And so, yeah, this wasn't him standing on his head. This was just Thatcher Demko doing what you expect from an elite level goaltender, giving them the edge in net. And look, Jake Ottinger's not going to play every game, so they had to turn to Casey DeSmith, but he's the Stars' backup. Thatcher is the main guy here in Vancouver. Should be an edge to the Canucks, and ultimately it turned out that it was last night. And guys, think back to last season. In these situations, there was a head coach that had zero confidence, zero faith, zero trust in the backup goaltender. Now they turn to Kevin Lankinen and should be feeling pretty good as they go into Chicago here. 3-0 lifetime against his former team. So he's had some success. Obviously, the Blackhawks haven't been a particularly good team over the last bunch of years, but still night and day, really, compared to last year where Artur Silov's only wins came against the Chicago Blackhawks. Here, I think the Canucks feel pretty good with the 1-2 punch that they've got, and this will be put to the test as they have the quick turnaround after the lengthy flight to get from Dallas to the Windy City.
Yeah, and I saw you tweeted it 10 straight against the Blackhawks.
Yeah. Oof.
And guys, they got 5 points from their defense last night.
Yeah.
Just from our discussion
the
on
doors
Monday,
got blown open.
There was 1 point from one guy on that defense score.
And on that note, Jeff, we've been counting down sort of and micro-analyzing Elias Pettersson and yet to get an elite game. And this is not a criticism of Quinn Hughes, but the Canucks have not relied on Quinn Hughes to lead them, drag them to victory here through 4 games. This is 4 games where Quinn Hughes has been good, but not from another planet like he normally is. And that's actually a compliment to the rest of the Vancouver Canucks.
Right, and I think it's a sign that things can and hopefully will get better for this team, is that he hasn't left the building hands down the best player on the ice yet. And he's up to 3 points now in 4 games. So it was 1 in 3, and that looked a little quiet for Quinn, but suddenly a 2-point game, including the empty netter. And now, with another 2-point game, he can be a point-a-game guy here 5 games into the season. And so you're right. And I think it also speaks to the fact that, again, small sample, they haven't played a lot of hockey yet, but in the non-Quinn Hughes moments, last year, that was a real issue for the Canucks. That's where a lot of games got away from them. They're holding their own, although there weren't many non-Quinn Hughes moments in the first 10 minutes of that hockey game. I thought he was on pace to play like 40 minutes last night. It's about every shift he was out there. They managed to, once they got the lead, they were able to roll some lines and manage his minutes a little bit more, especially in the front half of back-to-back. So I think that part's important. But, I'm with you. We're just conditioned to him being otherworldly almost every night out. I don't think we've seen that yet, but last night maybe the springboard to bigger and better things ahead for the captain.
Well, speaking of bigger and better things ahead, a very busy weekend for the RinkWide crew. You've got tonight after the game in Chicago, Jeff, and then Sunday morning. Well, I guess it'll be afternoon for you by the time the show starts, but it is a very early start Sunday morning, everybody, if you're not aware. This is a 9:30 puck drop from their nation's capital in Washington. So have a couple of great shows this weekend, Jeff. Thanks for this. We'll catch up on Monday.
Yeah, and Sunday is shaping up to be an incredible sports day now that we know what's happened down in the Emerald City here, and of course a full slate of NFL games. So maybe it's a good thing that the Canucks are getting the early puck drop there.
That's true. Yeah.
And
Jeff was saying that we have 3 TVs here in the studio. Jeff was saying that last night was a 3 TV night because it was Canucks, it was Blue Jays, it was the NFL game. Tonight, Jeff, it's another 3 TV night, brother. You got the Canucks game, you got Blue Jays and Marek, you got the Lions game on the other one. So plenty of happenings in our town sports-wise. Looking forward to it. And we'll be watching on RinkWide tonight.
All right, guys, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
So, Carson Price from the historic Wall Center. And this next segment brought to you by the 2025 Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. It's a spirited, electrified ride built for enthusiasts. 5th-generation hybrid powertrain from the originators at Toyota. Superior battery means you can go weeks without having to stop for gas. No charging anxiety. You charge as you drive. You don't need the charger at home. You just regular plug overnight. 2-liter engine. Spacious, loaded with safety features, clean, navigable dash. Plus, this is a handsome car. Blake has been saying. Spectacular lines. Take a look at the profile. Looks like a sports car. Preheat that cabin with the app. No idling. And you can lease the 2025 Prius plug-in hybrid SE from $99 weekly. 3.49% APR for 64 months with $3,600 down. It includes a $3,000 discount. Visit shoptoyota.ca. or your local Pacific Toyota
car.
dealer
It's
today. It's gorgeous. Here's another gorgeous individual, Mr.
Great
Jeff
lines.
Merrick.
Right. Great
With
lines.
the great lines. Look at the profile. Looks like a
look
sports
at-
car.
Look at you every Friday.
How
have
are
2
you?
Saturdays. You buttering me up there, Matt.
Oh,
Scaris.
yeah. Have
Look at
to.
you.
Have to. Well, we put you through the ringer every week, both on the technological side that people don't see, and then with the Easter egg at the end of the interview. So, yes, absolutely buttering you up.
Okay, and maybe it flew by and I missed it, but listening to the last pod and you guys talking about the nickname for Braden Cootes.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so there's one thing, and I'm listening to this in the car, and I'm screaming like, guys, it's so obvious, it's right
What did
there.
we miss?
Now,
What did we miss?
So the one thing that when you have young kids that play hockey, there's a sort of commonality around names. Parents that are hockey fans, and there's a lot of Connors. You see, there's a lot of
Connors.
Yes.
A lot of Bradens too.
And,
A lot of,
and a lot of Bradens. And you know what the Braden nickname always is?
Huh.
Braids.
Braids?
Great.
Braids. That's what it's guys. That's what it's going to be. It's not going to be cutesy. Because Blake's point's the right one. Cutesy is too cutesy. 100%. It'll be braids. It'll be braids.
But the NHL has a fascination with last names, Jeff. They don't want to do first name nicknames. They want to do last. Like, he couldn't be Cootie, right?
No.
He couldn't be
Guys, watch. It'll be
Cooter,
braids.
right?
It'll be braids. No, it ain't going to be that. It's going to be
It's going to
braids.
be that.
I don't think it's going to be
I
that.
don't think it's allowed to be that. I don't think it's allowed.
That's
Hang on
against
a
the
second.
code. That's
I think
against the
you're
code.
right.
That's
To
against
myself.
other things, too. Sorry. Didn't mean to bring that up.
We are not under CRTC's watch anymore.
No,
but
we're
I don't
not.
think we're allowed.
No, we're
I don't
not,
think we're allowed.
Jeff. Explore the space like Thomas Muller. You've got freedom now. You've been liberated.
See previous comment about every Friday have 2 Saturdays. I'm Matt Harris. Welcome to my show.
All right.
Hey guys.
Thanks for
How's
that.
it
We'll go with braids. By the way, last year's dub names, like we told Sanaya Saperji, last year's dub names off the chain. Okay, get ready for some draft picks out of the WHL.
Yep.
Whose names you're going to go like, his name
Now
is,
they're just-
there's
now
a
they're
kid
making
named
things
Cash in Medicine Hat. There's a kid named Cash in Medicine Hat.
No, but
All
now
right.
they're just making things up. They're conflating 2 other crazy names that we've made fun of in the past, and
So-
they're making new ones.
I'm waiting
They-
for the first Creighton.
Yeah.
Hang on. I'll give you a cat. So on my son's team, my son plays for the reps in the GTHL, and on his team there's a Cash. And as a tournament on the weekend, I asked his dad. I'm just curious. I'm legitimately curious. Like, how did you come by that name? It's a great answer. He said, I was a big Johnny Cash fan. My wife's a big Johnny Cash fan, so we named him Cash, and his middle name is Carter.
Okay, June Carter. Yeah.
Isn't that cool? I'm like, I'm really glad I asked. And also, Cash Carter is a pretty cool first and second name. But
as
anyway,
long
there
as
you're
he-
noticing my Cashes.
I'm glad the answer wasn't because he's my meal ticket. He's going to the NHL.
Well, yeah. Well,
Daddy wants a cottage on Lake Joseph, so it better be cash.
I need cash.
Guys, I'm not lying to you. There's a kid who just made Canada's World Under 17, Cash Christie's from here in North Van. I believe he's going to be a Medicine Hat Tiger. Went to St. George's here. So, anyways, we've got dueling cashes on either side of the country. First one to the NHL wins the bonus. Let's talk about the hockey game last night.
No, it's too much fun. Hockey sucks. Let's talk about this stuff.
It's the stuff around the sport that's really fun. That was a big win for the Canucks last night against a good team, and especially after falling behind 2-0 in the first period. What caught your eye?
Good 30 minutes. That first period, I think we're all on the same page. Like, this is going to be a long night here for Vancouver, and if it's not for Thatcher Demko, it probably would have been a long night for the Vancouver Canucks. A lot of things to be impressed by. Connor Garland was fantastic. I don't know how he gets out of that game and he's not one of the 3 stars. Demko deserved the first one easily, but how you not carving out a spot for Connor Garland after that performance last night? But you saw a little bit from everybody that you wanted to see, right? And a lot of it showed up on the scoreboard. Like there were some moments that we saw from Elias Pettersson, specifically on the assist that he got, where it's really great puck protection along the boards down low. That's what you want. That's great. I don't know. I thought it was like a really good, like, I'm not sure what happened in the first intermission. Was it a Herbie? Like, you know, did Adam Foote go full Herbie on the team? Is it too early for the Herbie? Peeling paint? We don't know, but they came out of a much different squad. And listen, that's a gutsy win against a team that we all look at and say, listen, this is a team that looks like they can win the Stanley Cup, provided they don't play the Edmonton Oilers. Like, that's a really good Dallas team. That's a really good, honest win by the Vancouver Canucks. And some signs of better play from Evander Kane. I think we've talked about this before. I love lob passes. I love lobbing pucks in front of goaltenders, and I thought Evander Kane's lob from his own zone was fantastic last night.
For that reason, right? Because it's the bounces of the frozen disc, and you never know when you're going to get that positive bounce, and boom, you're away. What I thought was important, and we've seen this from this Canucks team before, even when they're playing very well, we have higher expectations of them, where great that they have a comeback, but they would have stopped at 3-2. The 4-2 goal is so important for exactly the reason that the game panned out. That, you know, if you want to put a team away, you want to make sure you win that game, you have to add to leads. You can't be happy that you came back and got a lead. You have that 4-2 goal was enormous. And we've criticized this team before of, you know, when's the last 2-goal lead they've had? Blah, blah, like that was huge for me.
You know what? When I always think about that's an interesting point, because when I always think about that, there's one team that comes to mind where when they buried you, they really buried you, and that was the Edmonton Oilers of the 80s. Like, that's the only team I think that I ever saw, Blake, that it seemed to me when you scored on them, they took it personally. Like, how dare you? How dare you score on us? And then they would just like rip off like 4 goals in 6 minutes. And the game was over. I couldn't agree with you more. I want that team that doesn't just want to win a game, but wants to send a message. Like, 2 points is 2 points. It doesn't matter if it's a 1-goal game or a 3-goal game, but we're here to send messages if we can. The Oilers were the best at it. Again, like, they were personally offended. This was a great affront that you had the nerve to score against us. How dare you? And Vancouver was on the wrong end of that for a lot of years in the Smythe division. I get that. But that really is like when you have a team that can really bury a squad like that. Because I'll tell you what, the other one that I always the one stat that I always look sideways on that I think we always misread is amount of 1-goal games that are won. Right? You know, at the end of the year, you go, oh, this team's won 21-goal games. They know how to play
they're clutch
checking down. Like, that's a playoff score. They know how to do that. I look at that and I always say, I'm way more impressed in the team that just buries you. Like, how many 3-goal games have they won? Like, that 4-goal games have they won? Because you know what 1-goal games are like in the regular season. It's half a puck here, half a puck there. It's off the toe, it's off the heel, it's off the back of a skate. When I hear people gushing about how many 1-goal games a team has won, I generally think you're sort of celebrating something that's not really controllable, and that's luck.
That's what most analytics folks would tell you. The 1-goal win is actually indicative of a team that was 50-50 to get to where they were.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
You mentioned the lob passes, and I'm with you. I absolutely love them, and we're seeing more of them. It is absolutely a tactic these days in the National Hockey League. I mean, hockey's gotten so good entertainment-wise because everybody can skate now and everybody can play with the puck. I want to talk to you about speed for a second here, Jeff, because when Philip Hedl showed up here last year after the JT Miller trade, everybody in the market, all Canucks fans, just noticed the pace that he played with, and particularly as a puck carrier into the offensive zone. The Canucks have not had fast teams here for a long time. So, like, Philip Hedl looked like Gaetan Boucher out there. Like, he was just no, honestly, it was like
we're gonna have to give people a whole like sourcing on who Gaetan Boucher is.
Famous Canadian speed skater in the 80s. Moving right along. Can you win? Can you win in the NHL? Can you score enough goals to go the distance if you don't have the speed element as part of your offensive attack?
You can. And we just saw that with the Florida Panthers. Right? But then again, but at the same time, I'm not one of these people that thinks that there's only one way to win in the NHL.
No.
Like, there's a lot of different ways to win. I mean, this is the copycat league. You ape whatever is successful from the previous year. And then everybody chases, the success that we just saw in the playoffs. The Panthers are not a fast team. Panthers are a skilled team. There are some Gustav Forsling is a good skater. Anton Lundell is a good skater. I don't think you're looking at anybody on this team and saying that guy's a burner. Oh, this guy's just going to torch you. Give him a couple of feet and he's gone. Like, that's not the Florida Panthers. But I think it's always better to have some players that have that element, right? Like, you look at what was the one thing that, outside of Connor McDavid, the thing that the Oilers, kept on looking for was more speed, and that's how they settled on Kasperi Kapanen. And that, again, like, outside of a couple of players on that Oilers team, as far as foot speed goes, they may have the fastest in Connor McDavid and a really great one in Kasperi Kapanen, but I would never describe them as a fast skating team. The other thing about speed, and you know what? I'll tell you what, there's an interesting thing that happened last year with Adam Fantilli in Columbus. And this happens to a lot of players, and maybe just specifically the players coming out of college. They tend to play at one speed. And we saw this with Fantilli. Fantilli's a great skater and super fast, but everything he did was super fast, and you make yourself very predictable. And he struggled because of it. And we saw in the second half of last season, and you look at his 5-on-5 production in the second half, it was off the charts. And it wasn't until he learned how to mix up speed and play with different pace. McDavid is the king of it, right? He'll allow gap to close and then burn guys. Until you can start playing with your speeds, then you become, until then you're really predictable and easier to defend. Speed is such an interesting wild card too. You love to have it, but I don't think it is the be all and end all of this game. I still think the old saying that the puck moves faster than the feet. I think that's obviously still true. We saw that with 2 Stanley Cups with Florida.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying watching it here Hedl and Sasson score goals last night. That speed is a part of it, and just wasn't enough of that for the longest time with these.
The burner doesn't exist.
I'm not saying it's not important. I just don't think that it's the be all and end all. Like, if you have it as a weapon, awesome. Just like if you have a guy that can fire peas from the point, that's fantastic. But really, on the power play now, you're shooting for rebounds. But if you have a guy that can zip in 20 from the point, that's awesome. There's a lot.
But you're supported by the fact there aren't burners that exist anymore. Like there aren't really Mason Raymonds and Matthew Lombardis out there anymore. Like the guys that are just built on speed. There's the super high end, like the Connor McDavid's, obviously. But we used to see guys that made the NHL purely on speed, and I don't think those guys exist anymore.
Well, I think that's because you still had some slow guys on every team, Blake.
Right,
you still had some lumbering defensemen that Mason Raymond could walk, right? Yeah. Whereas everybody is a better skater now, and everyone has better lateral agility, and so it's harder to turn the corner with pure speed 100%. On a defenseman.
I'm really glad. I'm glad you got us there, because it winks at a point that I've been trying to make for the longest time here now, and that is, first of all, I go to any game, whether it's minor hockey, whether it's minor league hockey, it doesn't matter. I always come away with the same thing. Where did all the bad skaters go? Mm-hmm. Everybody has a certain baseline of being able to skate and to shoot and to play make, compete, like all of it. So we're in a really interesting era right now where general managers are saying to their scouts, their amateur scouts, find me guys that can do something else too. And what's that other thing now? It's toughness, it's compete, it's those types of things that won the Florida Panthers a couple of Stanley Cups. Now it's the race to have tough players. Mind you, they can all still skate. There's still a baseline of skating that you have to have in this league. But what is that intangible? What is in a league where everybody can skate and everybody can shoot and everybody can play make? What is the intangible that managers are looking for now? Bring me tough players.
Yep.
As much as the game
McKinnon and McDavid play with some snarl. Like honestly, both of those guys play angry, and those are the top two players in the league, and they play angry. So, and you know what? To his credit, if we bring this back to the Canucks, I think Elias Pettersson is trying to bring that to his game. It doesn't come to him as naturally as those other two guys, but the fact that we are praising, puck possession along the boards for Elias Pettersson and not the deke that Connor Garland made, like that sort of speaks to, I think, Elias Pettersson trying to establish a little more stoutness to his game.
What was the nicer play that we saw last night? Was it the deke or the behind or the between the legs pass?
He's fun to watch. He is.
We ask him to do his dekes.
No, we're talking Garland. We're talking Garland though. The Garland deke. Yeah.
Garland's deke was. I mean, listen, that's flatly, like, you look at that and you say, oh, that's the guy I remember watching in junior in the Q.
Oh, totally.
And it's just like Puck doesn't leave his blade and he does whatever he wants. It's just like hockey's easy. Then you remember he's playing the Dallas Stars.
I know. That's what made it impressive.
Stanley Cup.
Yeah. No. It's pretty good stuff. Now they've got to do it back to back though, and to me this is the test. Okay, great, you did this one off. What do you look like tonight? Same time zone. That's the good news. But what do you look like tonight? That'll be interesting.
That's there's that. I think we're all wondering the same thing about the Buffalo Sabres, who just put up an 8 spot.
One good win
against the Ottawa Senators, and they're facing off against the Florida Panthers, who can't buy a win right now tomorrow afternoon. And we're saying, what was that game against Ottawa? Is it they've turned the corner and that's really them, or in financial terms, stock terms, is that the dead cat bounce for the Buffalo Sabres? We don't know. We have no idea. So, and to the Vancouver Canucks, I think we're wondering the same thing, because that was the closest we saw to 3 periods of the Vancouver Canucks so far this season.
I want to ask you about this because I know you follow junior hockey pretty closely, and particularly there in Ontario, and of course the World Junior team. But we've been trying to explain to our audience that while Braden Cootes had a sensational preseason training camp and yes, played NHL games, and that will put him ahead of certain guys in terms of pecking order right now. Yeah. This is one of the most extraordinarily competitive, I think, Canadian World Junior rosters that I've seen in some time, particularly at the center ice position, where I count 13 guys, Jeff, who if you put them on the team and said he's our first, second, third, fourth line center, everyone will go, yeah, great player. He does this. I mean, McQueen, Catton, Misa, Desnoyers, Hage, Martin, O'Reilly, Baudouin, Luchenko, Reshny, Lindstrom, Boisvert, and that's not even to talk about the wingers like McKenna and Martone and Seneca and Aginla and all that. What do you think Coots' chances are of making that Canadian World Junior team?
It's going to be incredibly difficult to make this team. I think you guys talked about this a couple of weeks ago, how, he gets sent back. There's no guarantees that he even makes the World Juniors, despite the fact that he made an NHL team. And you're right. I do wonder, there's a couple of players that I wonder about here, what's going to happen with Brady Martin with Nashville? What's going to happen? One of the wild cards, maybe here for Braden Cootes, or are we allowed to call him Braids yet? Are we allowed to use that?
Let's start it.
Not the.
So what I'm worried about here with Braids is the same thing I'm worried about with Resch here. Cole Reshny's another one too, right? One's right-hand shot, one's left-hand shot, and they're sort of more similar than they are different. But what about someone like Jet Luchenko? We wonder about. You mentioned Michael Misa. Is he staying in San Jose? We kind of all suspect that he will. much like, Sam Dickinson and Matthew Schaefer will probably stay with their NHL teams. Do they get assigned for a couple of weeks, go win the World Juniors in Minnesota? We'll see. But what about someone like Jetlichenko, who I thought was one of Canada's best forwards? And he's playing fourth line center right now with the Philadelphia Flyers. And that fourth line with Grabenkin looks really good in Philadelphia right now. But again, is there a significant value in having Jetlichenko play minimal minutes with the Philadelphia Flyers? Or do you want to send him back to Guelph of the OHL and then off to Minnesota for the World Juniors and have that experience and then, come back, rock and roll, ready to go with the Flyers next season? Don't know what the decision there is going to be. But I will say one thing for Braden Cootes, and this is what makes him so impressive. Give him a challenge. Like, give him a challenge. Going into training camp, who was saying that amongst all the kids drafted, that Braden Cootes has a shot at making the Vancouver Canucks?
Yeah, not many.
I'm supposed to know junior hockey. I didn't. Like, I am so impressed. I remember, I remember talking to people about him, and the one thing that I think you guys know and all of Vancouver knows right now: one, he's a coach's dream. Give him an assignment, he will do it. He will not complain. He will find a way to make it work. Where I look at, it's going to be really difficult for him to make this team unless like there's teams that are keeping players. Berkeley Catton stays with Seattle. They do the up and down between the NHL and the American Hockey League team with them. Like, unless there's some players coming back, it's going to be really challenging. But I have a hard time betting against this guy now. Like, don't you? Just given what you saw at camp and what I saw at camp and making the Vancouver Canucks, I don't want to bet against them. I know it's going to be incredibly hard and the odds are against them. But from what we've seen, going back to various international tournaments and hearing what kind of player and person he is and what he was able to do with the Vancouver Canucks, I don't want to bet against them.
I also think that the Canucks did him a ton of favors in this regard. In that, I think the coaching fraternity, how this works too, Jeff, is if the coaches saw him as an NHL player here for a few games, God, I gotta respect that. That's he's been capped to some degree here. It's going to be up to a junior coach now to say, I disagree. He can't make my junior team, even though he made your pro team. That it's subconscious more than it is anything else. But I think it works in his favor.
And let's not forget too, this is, a lot of this is going to be on Dale Hunter's recommendation.
Yeah.
Right. And as well, let's not lose sight of one thing too. Right now, after the last two World Juniors for Team Canada, there's no messing around. There's no we're playing politics.
No.
There is none of that right now, more so than ever. You make the team,
That's right.
Period. It doesn't matter where you
no
came
more
from.
of this.
No more. That is like from up on high with Hockey Canada. That is done.
No more of those Dave Cameron decisions. That was such a bad job last year. I not only don't want him on a hockey bench, I don't want him on a park bench or a work bench or any bench anywhere. We've come to the Easter egg. We are going
good last
to.
week.
You were very good. You were excellent. Want to shout out our interns, Elijah and Graziella.
I'm just going to keep answering Jim Sandlock until I'm ready.
Our interns brought this to us yesterday, Jeff, so we're going to twist it, give it a bit of a twist and put it to you.
Okay.
There have been 16 unique 100-point scorers over the last three full NHL seasons. 16 unique 100-point scorers over the last three full NHL seasons. Mm-hmm. How many are Canadian, and who are they?
Unique as in they got 100 points once?
One or more.
One or more 100-point season over the last three. They have hit the 100-point plateau in one of the last three seasons.
How many are Canadian?
16 in total. How many are Canadian?
Marner and McKinnon, for sure.
They are correct.
Best player on the planet is missing still.
Oh my God, Connor McDavid.
He's on our team, thank God. Four Nations needed him. Yep. One more.
Let's see.
And he is the banana peel to this question, the one that would certainly not jump to the front of mind. He kind of takes a back seat on his own team, and yet he crested 100 points once over the last 3 years.
Oh my gosh. Back seat on his own team.
I know the answers and I forget which you're talking about.
He plays with two really, really, really good players. And they probably help him get to 100 points.
Oh. Was it the team last night?
British Columbian. Very high draft pick.
All right.
Western.
I don't know. Who is it?
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Oh. Yeah, that is sneaky. There's a few banana peels in there.
Isn't that sneaky? Ryan Nugent-Hopkins crested.
That is fantastic. Yes, yeah. Nuge. Sure.
104 points in 22-23.
Quick question here. I'm just sort of getting ahead of myself for the playoffs. I'm looking at the Edmonton Oilers. And one of the things, and we certainly saw this in the game against the Rangers the other night, where McDavid and Draisaitl are just, and you have to do it on the road. Otherwise, otherwise you just become too predictable and you can line match. But early on, like McDavid and Draisaitl separate, so much more effective. And now with Roslovic in the mix for the Edmonton Oilers, if you keep 97 and 29 separate, with Roslovic there, you have the beginnings of a great third line to win the Stanley Cup. Mm-hmm. And we talked so much about Florida's third line. We still sing, folk songs about Barclay Goodrow and Blake Coleman. Right? And with the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Sammy Paulson line in 2007, etc. Really quietly here, I can't help but thinking, like the Roslovic move is their sort of wink at we're building a really good third line here.
Yeah,
the key, though, is to keep McDavid and Draisaitl separate, but that's a good one, right? Nugent-Hopkins. Bravo.
Folk songs. Somebody...
Jim Sandlak. No.
Folk songs. Somebody awaken Woody Guthrie. We need a song about the Panthers' third line.
Yeah, for the Panthers' third line. What does Lundell rhyme with? Quick.
Luosterainen.
The answer, my friend.
This is Luosterainen. Thanks,
marvelous stuff. Thank you. Until next week.
See you, boys.
Cigars and Price from the historic Wall Center, built by Arbor Lee. Game night, make it a game weekend. Turn that ticket into a downtown getaway like tonight. Ask for the special Cigars and Price rate here at the Wall. Book 604-331-1000. Say you heard it here. Some blackout date supply based on.
And there is parking spots today for some reason.
Yeah.
I was able to pull into the parking lot effortlessly. So there you go.
Who knows? There could be some vacancy at the hotel with an S&P rate today or tomorrow. You got big games going on downtown. It's the best of three now as the Seattle Mariners squander a 2-0 ALCS series lead and a chance to clinch their first ever World Series berth at home in today's Game 5. Jays once again come back after Seattle takes the early lead on another home run from the Torontonian Josh Naylor. Light hitting Andres Jimenez homers and drives in 4.
I didn't know that he was allowed to hit the ball out of the infield. And here he's going deep back to back. I mean, it's just incredible.
But the story here was Mad Max Scherzer.
Oh, my God.
Emphasis on the mad. And if the Jays go on to win it all this year, the mound visit from skipper John Schneider goes down with, well, it doesn't go down with the Carter home run because what could, right? It wins the World Series. But I think it goes down with the Alomar home run and the Devon White catch in center field in Blue Jays lore. 5th inning, 2 outs, 1 out away from qualifying for the win. And Schneider starts walking to the mound to remove the 41-year-old who instantly yells no at him.
I'm good. Let's go. Let's go.
Schneider explained post-game that when he walks out to the mound, he's taking the pitcher out. When he jogs, the pitcher has a chance to talk him out of it. So he's walking at first, and that's why Max yells no at him. Then he starts jogging, and Max screams, I'm good, I'm effing good. And the best part here, watch it back, watch the infielders. First of all, they are not in that tight huddle you normally see for a mound visit. They are keeping safe distance from Max Scherzer. Secondly, when Schneider retreats, the smiles and laughs on their faces as they return to their stations is out of this world.
The quote from John Schneider after the game, I thought he was going to kill me. It was great.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to kill me. It was great.
Shane Bieber said afterwards, he's called it pure Mad Max, pure cinema. Joey Loperfido said he wants a still photo of Scherzer screaming in Schneider's face, and he intends to get Max to autograph that photo. There it is. There's Max just screaming at him. Schneider then went to tell Scherzer his night was done between innings. After leaving him in, Max was in the equipment room. He told Schneider, get the F out of here. I'm good. Schneider then went out and told Pete Walker, the pitching coach, he's going back in to some surprise.
And got 2 good outs there.
He sure did.
Like, I was a little bit worried for everybody's safety when he went out the second time, but
yeah,
it was an appropriate pull.
Honestly,
at that point.
The exclamation point on a Hall of Fame career for Max Scherzer, I think.
Does he make a start in the World Series?
Well, we'll see. He would not be scheduled to make a start in what's left of the ALCS.
Game 7 bullpen
he
appearance.
He may appear. Yeah, I think he's well, everybody's available in Game 7, right? If you get that far. Look, I think he's earned another start if they get to the World Series.
I think so.
But that could be it for Max Scherzer. Who knows? Schneider saying, I've been waiting for that moment since our first Zoom call in the offseason. The Blue Jays knew what they were getting into with Max Scherzer and hadn't yet had the moment with him, but it happened there in Game 4.
And again, to remind people, we led you into this yesterday on the show saying the 41-plus crowd has not been very successful come playoff time. It is few and far between that level of an outing.
Kenny Rogers and Roger Clemens, right?
Kenny Rogers and Dennis Martinez with the really good out. The volume is Roger Clemens' favor, but Clemens was not that dominant in his appearances as a 41. He was okay, but really good. It was Kenny Rogers and Dennis Martinez.
It was like 4 starts out of 40-some all time, right? So like 10% of the time a 40-year-old takes the mound in the playoffs.
And is really great.
And is really good.
Yeah.
But Blake, what I love about it, and we've been talking about this for years in October, the starting pitcher as protagonist, the hero, or at least the central character in the story of the baseball game.
Can we just go more than 4 innings, please?
We got that last night, and it's to be treasured in this era of 2 times through the lineup. And really, if you're a baseball fan, obviously Mariners fans would feel differently, but I would like to think that there were 28, 29 markets last night watching that game going, that's baseball. That's what I tune in October for, even if my team isn't playing.
Now, on the Mariners side of things, this from Softy on KJR.
Yeah, Softy Mahler.
Being a Mariners fan for 49 years has pumped me full of dread. It's infected my bones, and there is no cure. It'll always be there. Does that not sound like a Canucks fan?
It is so Canucky. Yeah. I mean,
it's crazy.
Very similar, right? Like the Canucks are a few years older and at least have been to Stanley Cup finals, but Don Taylor, impending doom.
Here's the thing, though. It's anybody's series. It
is.
Best of 3.
Game 5 today, same starting pitching matchup as Game 1, Kevin Gausman versus Bryce Miller. Boy, I would have, from a Mariners point of view, is Brian Wu going to drop in and start Game 6? It's getting late in the day.
Yeah.
There will be a Game 6 Sunday in Toronto. Dodgers win again. They're one win away from heading to the World Series, defending their title. It is
they got to buy.
boring.
They got to buy. Just brutal.
The juxtaposition between these two league championship series.
Yep.
I imagine everybody who's covering the LA-Milwaukee series is going, oh, man, I wish I was. Yeah. BC Lions home tonight, the regular season home finale. They're hoping to play in BC Place again in 2 weeks for the West Division semifinal. They've already clinched a playoff spot. They can still finish second, third, or fourth in the West. And, of course, the latter would mean crossing over into the East Division playoffs. They cannot clinch home field tonight with a win. A loss would put them in danger of falling into fourth place if both Calgary and Winnipeg win this week. Bombers host Saskatchewan tonight. That game goes before the Elks and Lions. Stampeders host Toronto tomorrow. It's the Argos' last game of the season, and they have scratched a number of stalwarts. Lions have won 4 straight. They're averaging 39 points over that run. They've won 6 straight over Edmonton at BC Place. And these two teams, BC and Edmonton, rank first and second in the league in big plays. Should be a good one, sideline reporter Blake Price.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And I really hope they win for a couple of reasons. It just sets up a great final week of the season for the Lions, and a reason to really watch. And it's not one of those we're going to bench half the starters sort of scenario. So it sets that up. And obviously, I'd love for the Lions to get a home date. So for those two reasons, and on paper, let's face it, on paper they and the Elks have played much better in the last 2/3 of the season.
Yep.
But
6-3.
But on paper, the Lions should win this game.
Yeah.
Let's see if they can execute.
A reminder, BC wins a head-to-head tiebreak against Calgary. They lose a head-to-head tiebreak against Winnipeg. In the event of a 3-way tie between them, the Lions finish second to Calgary, would be on the road for the West semi. And we know our Grey Cup halftime act now, Machine Gun Kelly, will perform at the 112th Grey Cup at Princess Auto Stadium in Winnipeg next month.
He's a musician? I thought he was just Megan Fox's boyfriend. Didn't know that.
It's the right demo. They're trying to get a younger audience involved. It was the Jonas Brothers, of course, last year here at BC Place. 2 years ago, Green Day was awesome in Hamilton.
Yeah, really good. No, actually, he plays pump up music, and so that sort of fits. He's not like a widely known guy, I don't think, but he plays the right style of music.
Yeah, he's interesting to look at too.
He
is a true original.
He is an OG.
I will give him that.
One of one.
NFL shootout between 40-year-old quarterbacks last night. Joe Flacco, Aaron Rodgers. Enjoy it, fellas. There won't be many more of those.
And, given their advanced age, they stayed up late and were pretty good late.
Yeah, they were pretty good. No warm milk and Matlock for these two.
No.
33-31, the Bengals beat the Steelers. Bengals fans chanting, "Thank you, Cleveland," were their in-state rival for trading Joe Flacco to them last week. It's kind of another meh weekend on the NFL schedule. I can't say I'm too stoked about any of these Sunday games. Indianapolis at the Chargers could be, but of course, there's just not a ton of atmosphere at Chargers games at SoFi Stadium. Philadelphia at Minnesota, I guess that could be a thing. The Giants are playing better. They're at Denver. And, yeah.
I'm not pumped about
this. It's Monday night at Tampa, Detroit, and Houston, Seattle look like a whole lot of fun on Monday night. And it is a true doubleheader on Monday night. That Lions-Buccaneers game goes at 4 p.m., then it's Texans, Seahawks from Lumen.
But the Texans haven't performed as we thought they would just yet at 2-3.
No, I'm not sure they're there. But it's the Seahawks, and we pay extra attention to the Seahawks.
Yeah, that's true.
Whitecaps tomorrow on decision day for MLS, final regular season game day, match day. They host Dallas. The Caps do at BC Place, where a win or a tie earns them first place in the MLS West and home field advantage throughout the playoffs, or at least throughout the Western Conference. They can also finish first with a loss and a San Diego loss to Portland. San Diego is the only team that can catch them. Timbers are trying to avoid that play-in game, so they have tons to play for. Dallas can move up and out of the play-in game with a win and a Portland loss, so they'll be motivated as well.
We should clarify Portland draw with San Diego is good enough, too. If San Diego just draws, it's over as well, because they're 3 points behind the Whitecaps. So,
right.
Yeah.
Blake and Paul Dolan. Boy, you're going to you just pitch a cod at BC
I'm not
Place.
leaving. I'm just going to stay.
Blake and Paul Dolan have the call on MLS Season Pass, Apple TV. What are we expecting lineup-wise from the Caps, Mr. Price? Because, of course, this is the last chance for a tune-up before the postseason.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Gald. I'm thinking Blackman. I'm thinking White.
No, none of the above. Will be starting. Maybe Gald in the 20. Here's the thing. That limp that we saw.
Oh, no.
I think it is something.
He said it wasn't. He said it was just awkward and he was good.
It sounds to me like he might be 50-50 to even dress in the match. And, of course, they're going to be ultra
So you're
cautious.
telling me as the week went along, the knee got...
Yeah, because he trained Tuesday, Wednesday,
well,
right?
when he got that maintenance day, I was like, oh, okay. But, you're...
Yeah, we'll see. It's not impossible,
That's
but
really too bad.
And as a result, the starting 11 is going to be what we've seen for the most part. Ryan Alumi coming back from Tunisia, so they might give him a break up top and stay with the veteran in Rios. But for the most part, it's the best available 11 that we have seen in the last few matches and has got the job done. None of the returning injured players will be starting, but Pupa will play. Yeah, they're going to get.
I hope so. I mean, I thought he was going to be back 2 or 3 games ago. This has been
Pupa's going to get
another
minutes.
one that
it might be
lingered.
12 at the end of the game, but Pupa's going to play.
Yeah,
for sure.
And all the more reason for the Caps needing to win this one, because if they do win this one and become the first seed, then there's little chance that they're going to play their first game until Sunday.
Maybe Monday
week.
even. Maybe even Monday.
So there's at least a day, if not a couple of days more rest available for these hobbling Whitecaps if they win today, because they'll be playing the play-in winner. The play-in game goes next Wednesday. So you're not going to see them MLS asking the play-in winner to play before next Sunday.
I would
if
make
the Caps fall to second place, they could play Friday, Saturday next week.
I would make up all sorts of excuses. I'd be like, oh, you know what? There's an air conditioning issue at BC Place, but it'll be good for Monday. It'll be good for Monday.
Results of the Redwoods Golf Course poll question. We asked you, who is on your main screen, the Canucks, the Blue Jays, or depends on the score? What did the people say, Blake?
Depends on the score. So easy to choose, but I still think I'll go Canucks.
Correct percentage?
Not by a ton. 40.
The Canucks got 39.4%. The Blue Jays got 38.7%. They were within a percentage point difference. Depends on the score, got 22%.
I really found the intermissions were well timed in terms of when I could, replace the main screen with the other game. So
watch the first period, then hop on over to the baseball game. You were still first inning.
Get a couple innings worth on intermission and then back and forth.
Yep.
So it ended up working out well, except for that 45 minutes where it was the Jays exploding and the second period.
The Canucks exploding.
It was tough.
Craig says Mariners in all caps. There were a lot of Mariners fans angry that we didn't have this listed as Blue Jays Mariners and just had Blue Jays.
We should have.
There was an omission. Yeah. Well,
it would have been more inclusive and more exacting.
I agree with you, but I mean, we did provide the steak. I mean, you're griping about the salad or the starch. Chris, in answer to your question, I'm out on the Canucks maybe for the season. Chris, we're 3 fucking games in, Chris. 1 and 2. How could we be out after 3 games, 1 and 2? Don, I'm watching the Pittsburgh Steelers. How did that work out for you, Don?
Oh, you got an entertaining game.
We went to a bar, and the guy sat us down. He said, okay, it's baseball on this side, it's hockey on that side. And my brother asked, is there any screen with football? And he went, not tonight.
Yeah.
That's for a bar that's got the NFL branding, like who shares the sponsorship with the NFL pour beverage companies. That's pretty unusual. And then Derek says, time to get 3 screens going. Blue Jays, Canucks, TNF, as we said tonight, too.
FNF. Yeah.
Right? Blue Jays, Canucks, Lions. Everything is happening. Errors and omissions from yesterday's program. Blake said 220-odd points from Wayne Gretzky in his season. No, he maxed out at 215.
Yeah.
A mere 215.
That's doable. 220, never.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time connecting with the program. Please do subscribe to all our assorted channels, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. Follow on social. That's X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky Live. Many of those platforms, noon Pacific time, weekdays. Of course, please do support the community sponsors you hear us talking about and enjoy this glorious weekend of sports. We'll talk to you Monday. Keep it local.